Hey everybody, this is Midge, and this is the Zoom presentation for When is Fine, Really Not Fine. So this is going to be the redo of last night's live webinar on Facebook so that we can hopefully catch the missing minutes that the power blip took away from us. So this is an overview. We're going to look at 4 steps that will awaken our hearts, and it is my intention that you will learn to be able to feel seen, heard, and valued. And if you're not feeling those things right now, I believe that it is possible for all of us to feel those things within our own soul and also with others. In a few minutes, I'm going to read a belief statement that I did as a part of my own coaching experience. And if you stay to the end of the webinar, you'll receive a bonus gift, which is kind of cool. Okay, so some of you have already accessed that. If you're looking at this for the first time, you still can qualify for that, and that'll be awesome. Okay, so fine is defined as feelings inside not expressed. And what that means is that sometimes we're asked questions like, hey, do you want to go to this restaurant? And we're all going to go out together. And you're like, ugh, I don't like their food. I don't like their service. And instead of saying, no, thank you, or I'd prefer to go somewhere else, we go, that's fine. If someone shows up late for something that we've scheduled and we're all inconvenienced because they show up late and they get there and we all say, oh, that's fine, or maybe I'll say, oh, that's fine, we're fine, and we're not really fine, but we kind of hide those feelings. We don't empower ourselves to speak up and say how we really feel. It may be because we don't want to rock the boat. It may be because we lack self-confidence. It may be because we've been taught in the past that you smooth things over and you don't allow your thoughts or feelings to get in the way of everybody else's. But when we do that, we kind of breed resentment and we get angry inside, and we sometimes will shut down our feelings to the point where we then don't know what we feel. And that's why it's so toxic, not only for us, but it's also toxic for the relationships that we're trying to build with other people. And we can't ever really have quality, deep relationships if we're hiding our authentic self. So I believe that everyone is on earth to serve a sacred contract. I believe that we're all created to be compassionate, loving, and kind to ourselves and to all living souls. I believe that we can awaken our hearts and heal old wounds. I believe that we all have the power to transform our pain into our most authentic, spiritual, compassionate, and best selves. I believe we deserve to feel empowered to speak up and set boundaries and be valued by those we love and respected by those we meet along our path. In order to love ourselves, though, and others, we have to practice the 4 key steps that I'm going to talk about today. So in that I believe statement, the thing that resonates with me is that I have to really transform my pain. You know, I have to transform the part of me that doesn't feel worthy, that feels like if I'm not perfect, I'm somehow being hypocritical. I need to be willing to give myself a break. I need to be willing to say that even though I may not think I measure up, that's an illusion because there's no measurement. There's no comparison. I am here to do my best, my personal best, even when I'm sick, tired, fearful, grieving. That's why my best is always going to change, because in the belief that I'm going to be authentic, I'm not always having a stellar day. I'm not always feeling like I'm in charge of everything. And as we all know, we're not in charge of anything. Well, I guess there are some things we're in charge of. But some things, you know, we really just have to learn how to work through the lessons and opportunities that are presented to us. So if you've ever felt like you're disenfranchised, that you're not heard, you're not valued, you're not listened to, and if you start to recognize that, yeah, I do resent the heck out of the person who's late, or I do resent that somebody is always choosing the restaurant and I'm never able, I resent maybe others, but I may resent myself for not speaking up, and I might beat myself up later for not doing it. So here are our objectives. The 4 steps to awaken your heart and empower yourself to live the life you deserve are: who am I, talk your talk, awaken your heart, and walk your talk. So what does it mean to say, who am I? Well, that's getting to know yourself on a deep level. What are your feelings? What do you feel about certain things? How do you express those feelings, and how do you allow people to talk to you? What do you love? What do you dislike? What personal boundaries do you have? Do you like people to get right up in your face and talk to you? Do you need them to step back a little bit? Um, do you have boundaries as to how people will speak to you, how they treat you? Do they tell jokes in front of other people about you? You know, who are you, and how do you bring that authentic self out to others? So if I am compassionate toward animals, and then I find myself in a situation where I'm taken to some sort of a home where they are completely non-compassionate about how they treat their animals, what do I do about that? Who am I in that moment? Am I going to disappear? Am I going to excuse myself? Am I going to speak up? What am I going to do? Because who I am resonates from my core, and then it's expressed through my thoughts and my words and my feelings and my actions. Talking your talk is all about learning to speak up, speak out, and affirm yourself. So it's not just how do we communicate with other people, but when we're looking at our journey of who we are and how to awaken our heart and empower ourselves, do we stay silent and passive and let people walk all over us? Do we get aggressive and think that we have to bully people into listening to us? Or do we find that middle ground of being assertive and authentic, where we can speak up about our feelings, tell people how we feel about a situation or their behavior, and then claim our power and affirm ourselves in the process? Awakening your heart is all about connecting to your intuition, that little voice inside of you that can tell you the truth about what is. And the inner spirit that's in you, that's ignited. Just you coming onto this webinar tells me that there's a spark in you that says, hey, I want to learn more about that. What does that mean? How's that going to apply to me? There was a spark that was lit, and that's why you connected. And that's important, because your heart is always craving to reach its highest and best self. And walk your talk is living that authentic life. Even though we're not doing a perfection thing, living an authentic life means that we strive every day to be mindful of how we talk and how we live our lives and what we focus on as far as being authentic. And so all of our thoughts and our feelings and our words and our actions should all be in alignment with how we want to live our lives and who we are as a person on the inside. So who am I? So oftentimes when we ask this question, if somebody says, who are you? Oh, I'm Midge. I'm Midge Noble. Or they'll say, what do you do? Well, and then we talk about our job and we talk about our hobbies. And we feel like that is the picture of who I am. But it's really, my name is what I'm called, my job is what I do, my hobbies are how I spend my time. But Midge Noble, me on the inside, is a combination of my thoughts and my feelings and how I put that expression out into the world. How do I serve others from my heart space? That's who I am. What light do I put out into the world? That's the essence of me. Am I bold enough to speak up for myself, or do I just go along with the others and what they want and how they feel? And what do I love, hate, aspire to be? So as I'm asking these questions, if you're like, I have no clue, I don't think about that. Well, maybe that's the spark that was lit, because inside you may recognize that you really don't know yourself as well as you want to know yourself. And it's hard to tell people about you if you don't know you. So in this journey of who am I, we need to go kind of deep and really learn to get to know that amazing person that you already are and you've been created to be. See, I believe that once we're put on this earth, that sacred contract I was talking about, that purpose that you're here to serve, that is who you are. You may do it in different formats, but that essence of serving from the heart space is who we are. So who am I? we're going to take a moment to just pause and connect with our heart space. You can do that by bowing your head down towards your heart. You can do that by just placing your hand on your heart. No one can see you, so don't be embarrassed. It's okay. I kind of sometimes get embarrassed in group things when we're all doing it in the same room, and I'm like, oh, it's everybody got their goes, but you're fine. Are you really? Okay. Anyway, so if you want to just, whatever you're comfortable doing, I'm going to ask this question, who am I, several times for you. And I want you to just allow the answer to resonate from your heart. Okay? Don't push it. Don't force it. If you get the same answer, that's okay. If you get different answers, that's okay. If you get no answers, that's okay. There is no perfect way for this to go. It's just a way for you to connect to that inner spirit and just let that answer surface. So no pressure. Let it be whatever comes up. If nothing comes up, that's just an indication of maybe you feeling shut down, or there's been too much going on today and your head's not in the space to dig deep right now. So no pressure. So however you want to get yourself centered, you may close your eyes or bow your head or put your hand on your heart and just allow. Okay? So let's get in a calmer space and just take a deep breath in and out. In and out. And let's do one more. In and out. And just allow. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? So as answers came up, if they did, you may want to jot down the things that your heart told you. And then look at how you may be expressing those things in real time in real life. And are those things that you currently are pursuing, or you're allowing them to come up? If it's not what you're doing, think about ways that you can incorporate it a little bit at a time. They kind of talk about leaning into things. We don't have to go all the way in all the time, but just making a step toward being a little bit more aligned with what your heart is telling you to be. So what does talk your talk mean? Talk your talk is all about focusing first on yourself. Like, what words do I use about myself? Do I call myself stupid, ugly? Do I say things like, well, I've always been this way? Am I gentle with myself? Am I affirming or abusive? The way I talk to me is what I'm probably going to attract from others. So if you're always getting into conflictual relationships and you're feeling like you're being taken advantage of and that you're being talked down to or disrespected, start to notice whether or not people's words toward you are things that you say about yourself or even think about yourself. People think that if we hold our thoughts in our head and it doesn't come out our mouth that we're going to be okay. But actually, those thoughts really do attract things also. Our feelings and our thoughts and our actions, all of that attracts back to us what energy we're putting out into the world. So be a little bit more mindful about how you're treating yourself. What words do I allow others to say about me? Are we the butt of somebody's joke when we go out with them? Are we always the one that they target? Do I allow that and smile and say it's fine? Do they tell, for me, it was, people talking about dumb blonde jokes, and everybody would laugh and I would smile too. But back in the day, I had a really, really, and still do have a real big challenge with math. Just this year, I've been able to start, subtracting and adding in my head. And I know, I don't know why my head doesn't hold on to things like that. But when I was a kid and I was in math class, I would have no clue what the teacher was talking about. And she would come to my desk and she would help me out and she would explain it to me. And all of a sudden, with her standing right there, I started to get this little light, shining in my head. And I was like, oh, I think I have it. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm great. I got that now. And she would walk off and she would take my brain with her, and I would be back to not understanding a word she said. And I struggled so hard with that. So when somebody would tell a dumb blonde joke, because I already had that language in my head as that I'm dumb, I took it really personal, and I didn't like it. I didn't always speak up about it, but I didn't like it. And so do I allow others to say things about me? And then the second part of that is, do I already believe those things about me? I tell kids all the time, when bullies are bullying us, if they call us a purple people eater, we just laugh at them because it doesn't ring true. But if somebody tells a dumb blonde joke, then I'm feeling offended because it rings true for me. So what rings true for you? What wounds are you holding on to that may be running in the back of your head that you don't know is there, but it's pulling that energy of self-loathing or that energy of doubt or dislike for ourselves? And then we put that energy out to the world, and we may be getting conflictual relationships back. Do I use a clear I feel statement to speak up for myself? Could I have said back then, I feel upset when you do a dumb blonde joke because it really offends me on a level, that's deeper than you think. And what I really need is for you to respect me and not do that in front of me anymore. So when I'm able to clearly state how I feel about something and put that out there, they may not do it, but I'm still empowered because I have not hidden and acted like it was fine, and I set a boundary for myself. Do I hear myself always apologizing for how I feel and for what I need? That's a way, an indicator of whether or not we're really feeling good about ourselves. Because if I'm always saying, I'm sorry, I feel upset with you, or I'm sorry, I need some water. If I'm always apologizing, then I'm giving myself the message that I really don't deserve those things. And I do deserve to speak up about how I feel, and I do deserve to get my needs met. And as I start to love myself more, then I empower myself to get my needs met. Am I that passive doormat and allow people to walk all over me? Do I speak up in an aggressive conversation to get my needs met? Or am I able to set a clear I feel statement and be assertive and claim what it is that I need and know that I deserve it? So there's a little note here that says that if you stay to the end of this program, I'm going to be giving you some bonus worth work PDFs to assist you in talking your talk and getting a little bit more clear about your feelings. So I hope that you can watch this all the way through, and I'll tell you how to access those PDFs. Awaken your heart. I just love this. I love that whole concept of awakening my heart, waking it up to all the possibilities of who I am and how to speak up for myself and how to be empowered. So what belief gives you strength? Is it a belief that was born in your soul, or is the belief something that was taught to you? So it may be that we believe that money is our strength, because with money we can buy what we need and want, and we don't have to count on anybody else. But as we all know, that money comes and goes. It's a fluid energy. So sometimes we have it and sometimes it's going back out. So if that's your belief, then it's a little impermanent, right? If our belief is that we have to be in a huge house and we have to have a huge, car or something like that, and that makes us okay and that makes us feel good about ourselves, that also is pretty impermanent. As the Buddhist would say, everything is impermanent and suffering is all around. So the strength that we're looking for is that inner knowing that all is well, that no matter what chaos goes around us, all is well. And that sometimes is a challenge to claim. And like I said earlier, sometimes we're on and sometimes we're not. So that's when we're gentle with ourselves and we give ourselves permission to not always be in that perfect space. So as we're awakening our heart, we need to recognize, what do we hold on to, and how can we make that a personal thing instead of what other people have told us we need to have as a strength, and come from the inner strength. The who am I is part of the strength that we can hold on to. When everything else around us is impermanent and goes away, we're still standing. How do we do that? What are we telling ourselves to get us to that place of not quitting? Do you tap into your own intuition and listen to the whispers of your heart as a guide? That's the point of strength. So I can be strong when things are crumbling if I look inside and I say, Am I really stupid? And the heart's going to tell me no, because I'm downloaded with the information I need to serve my purpose in the way I'm supposed to serve it, not like anybody else, just how I'm supposed to serve it. So do I use that as my guide, or am I always looking externally to, oh, do you think I'm okay? Am I all right with you? You know, if we're always looking for everybody else's opinion, we're going to get everybody else's opinion, and that's 1,000 opinions, and yet we haven't asked ourselves. So being able to ground ourselves and be in that space of finding out who we are and opening up that heart space, that's where our strength is going to come from. And how do I handle the pain from the past? Am I stuck? Am I grieving? Am I dealing with a debilitating anxiety? You know, those wounds, those heart wounds that are still there. You know, in one of my Anchor podcasts, by the way, I'm doing a podcast on Anchor, so you can access it there. If you want to get the link from me, you can message me on Facebook, and I'll be glad to get you the link to hear the podcast. You're not too far behind. I've only done the premiere in one episode so far, so I'm really having a good time with that. And it's all about awakening our hearts as well. So, you know, if I said on, I think, the premiere show that the our brain is kind of like a phone that has apps on it, and some of the apps are in the foreground and we know they're running and we're using them, but then there are some apps that are taking energy in the back. And in our own brain, unhealed hurts and wounds are still taking the energy from us and assigning us with those feelings of doubt and insecurity and feeling disappointed in ourselves, or believing that we're not going to be fine, or that bad things are always going to happen to us. So if we're feeling like we can't move forward, it may be because we're being pulled backward with some wounds that need to be uncovered and released. So learning how to dig deep and get in there and find a way to release all of this pain is going to awaken your heart, and then you're going to soar. At the end of the webinar, I'm going to give you an opportunity to dig deeper and awaken your heart, and I'll tell you how to get that too. So how do we walk our talk? So if we've accessed our feelings, if we've gone a little deeper and set some boundaries and expressed ourselves well, how are we going to put that into action? We need to really start with ourselves. We have to affirm ourselves every single day through affirmations or mantras. Change the language to I am, and make it positive. You know, I am free, I am lovable, I am powerful, I am safe, I am purposeful, you know, I'm aware, I'm awakened. Whatever we need to say every single day to start our day off with that right energy. And if we put the right energy out into the world, we're going to attract a better energy back into our lives. So learning how to set affirmations, learning how to have a morning practice that can set our day up and give us the energy to move forward. For me, my morning practice has evolved, and I'm in a really good solid practice now where I get up super early compared to some people. I'll get up at 3:30, and then I will do what David G says, RPM, Rise P meditates. I get right in there, and I start with a gratitude meditation. I focus on all the things that I'm grateful for and all the things that are going right in my life, and then I go into a singing bowl sound meditation that aligns all of my energetic chakras. I do one of David G's 5 secrets of meditation, where I look at how I can surrender and accept and attract compassion and love and abundance into my life. And there are some mahavakas that I do. And if you ever have questions about these things, I'll be glad to clarify it more, but we'll go deeper later in a course that I'm developing. And then the last thing that I do is a meditation combination where I get quiet and I allow Creator to just speak to me. And then I will then take the rest of the time to put out my intentions and my desires and attract those things back to me by feeling as if they're already here. So I get myself all ready, go walk the dogs, come back to yoga, and I'm about ready for the day. I have an evening practice that involves gratitude again for everything that I was able to experience through the day. I look at some of the opportunities that I had. If there were things that were really uncomfortable that I had to go through, I look at what lesson might be available to me from that, or what opportunity I had to grow. And then I will take some time to pardon myself if I have done something or said something that I wished I hadn't, if I had had a moment of, anger or overwhelmment, even though that's not a word, I like it. And I pardon myself and release that, and recognize that I'm not perfect and that that's okay. And then learning to find a tribe. A tribe is, those people that are there to support you. They're the people that, if you can imagine that a canoe is your life, and you can invite anybody into your life that you want, and you're pulling your life and directing your life, but you've got people in your canoe that may be just sitting back there with their little old drink, and they're just along for the ride, and they're not very much help at all. You may have somebody in your canoe that's hanging their feet over the back, dragging them behind you, so that your job of moving forward is more uncomfortable and harder. You may have someone in your boat that's super critical, and all they want to do is complain and tell you what's going wrong or how you're not doing it right. You may have somebody in your canoe that says, hey, let me help paddle, give you a little bit of extra help. They may get out of the boat and actually help you move the boat further along. And there may be somebody in your boat that is very honest, and we need those folks too, who will lovingly give you some insight into how you might improve, or some track you're going down that may be not healthy for you and you hadn't recognized it yet. So find out who's in your canoe, and some of those people need to just get on out and take another canoe and take another ride. You are in charge of who you put into your canoe and who you will not allow to be in there in your life. Okay, so your bonus offers are that because I believe in you and you stayed until the end, I want to give you some PDFs to help you identify your feelings and empower your words. So you can comment below and type, yes, I want to be better than fine, and PM me your email address. You can do that on Facebook through Messenger, or you can connect with me through my email address, Second Chances, at embarkmail.com, and I'll be glad to send you those PDFs. In a minute, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this class, but what I want to do first is I want to talk to you about what I want for you, okay? What I want for you is that you come to a place of knowing that you deserve all the things that I talked about before. So if we look at this other slide, I want you to know that you are here for a purpose, that you have been put on this earth to serve in an amazing way, because you already are amazing. I want you to know that you have the power to transform your doubts, your fears, your pain, your wounds into something amazing. I want you to know that anything is doable. And unless we are below ground and we've stopped breathing, we have an opportunity to heal, to stop being hurt, to be able to speak up and set boundaries. So if any of this resonated with you, if you can see yourself in some of my examples, and I guess I didn't tell the story about how when I was in graduate school and I met the wife that I have now, I used fine all the time. I was always shutting down my feelings and not speaking up for my power. And finally, she got to the point where she just wasn't going to listen to me say fine again, and she would wait me out until I would make a choice. Okay? If you feel like you have disempowered yourself, or that voices from the past, the wounds from the past, the things that have happened to you are still stuck to you, and you want to get them off of you, and you want to be able to release all of that pressure and weight and get on solid ground. If you feel like you're kind of shifting in the sand, and you want to get on a solid rock and be empowered, this course that I'm designing is going to be the transformation that you're looking for. So the course that I'm going to offer is going to be a 4-week course, and it will meet once a week, and we'll meet for 4 weeks. We're going to meet for about an hour and a half. I'll do an hour of instruction, and if we have any questions or there is anything that we need to talk about after class, we'll take a few minutes to do that. Once a week, I will do a live Facebook group session where we can answer other questions that we may need to answer. The purpose of this online class is not only to elevate you to your next level that you want to be at, but also to start to form a tribe of people that, as I'm coaching other people during the class, you're going to benefit from the lessons that they're learning, and they're also going to benefit from you, and it's going to be a community of seekers, really, of how to take our next best step. A part of this group is going to be about being included into an Empowered Me private Facebook group where we can get together, and that's where I'll do the live streaming. So if you're listening to this, when I did this last night, I extended a discount of $100 off the cost, so that because you stayed for the end, and I wanted to give you a bonus, and I really want you to be a part of this. So how you would do that if you want to be a part of the Awaken the Fire in Your Soul class, then I want you to message me and let me know that you're all in, okay? So if you do that to sign up, you'll PM me today with your email address so I can send you an invoice. And then if you do that within 24 hours of this Zoom class, then you will receive the bonus rate. Okay, so it's going to be extended for some of you that might have heard this last night. I am going to have 8 people in my class, so 1 spot's already been claimed. There are 7 spots left. And I really am excited about going on this journey with you. We all deserve the best, and I would really love for you to be able to awaken the fire in your soul. If you have any questions, I am available online. You can message me off of Facebook, and you can also contact me through email at secondchances@embarkmail.com. If you want me to call you and talk to you more about the class and go into a little bit more information about that, I'll be glad to do that. Just when you private message me, leave your phone number, and I'll be glad to call you. Okay? So I am so proud of you for taking the time to dig a little deep today, to awaken that fire in your soul. You got on this call for a purpose. There was a reason that you decided to hook up with this. So I want you to trust that intuition. It's okay. And you're in the right place. And I'm really, really happy that you're here. So if you decide that you want to go ahead and do that, please direct message me, and I'll be glad to help you out. Thank you. Have a good day. Namaste.